If there are no real challenges going on in my life, I'd be concerned about my walk with the Lord. On the other hand, if there are tests or challenges going on, I realize today, I completely realize that those can be used to grow me, and it may not even be about me. Those might be used for somebody else. My name is Bob Bartlett. I've been in Creekside for about 12 years now. I grew up in Tacoma, Washington in a Christian home. We attended church regularly. That's where I got my introduction to Jesus Christ and walking with Him and giving Him my life. And I very much related to that as a child and then grew further into that as I matured myself. One of the first, I think, parts of my life that were significant for me and affected me in unique ways and helped build into me what I am today and into my character was two parts of my family situation. One was it was somewhat of an abusive household, and where I was kicked, slapped, yelled at, called names and so forth by a parent. At the same time, I had mentally challenged siblings, and while I was second in the birth line, I was functioning as number one and overseeing an older brother and a younger sister as well in a lot of ways. And it wasn't unusual for me to try to protect them and oversee them and get them away from anger and other things going on in the home. So that grows a kid up pretty fast. I married a woman I'd met at my Christian college. I was 22 at the time. And we were married for a number of years, but it ended. You know, I entered into that relationship, that marriage, very dysfunctionally, to coin a term, and it wasn't long before it just started aggressively getting worse to the point where eventually my wife left us, and I was essentially single parenting 2 children, a girl and a boy. Time went by, and my wife wanted to come back, and I wasn't ready for that. We were separated. I said, let's get some counseling together then, if you want to come back. And she said, fine. So I set up counseling, and she went once and quit. So I thought that through, and it's worth it. So I got another counselor. She went once and quit. So you can see how that was going. I found a third counselor. It was a woman. I thought maybe this would help. And she went once and heard some things that she was uncomfortable with, got up and left. And I realized then, wow, maybe there's no more hope. And I gave up. And long story short, we ended up divorcing. I was so mad at God. I blamed Him for it. I said, God, you're sovereign, you're supreme, you could fix this. After 2 years' time, the love and the pursuit of the Lord had gotten to me again. And I'd realized that He hadn't moved, I had. And I got really humble and realized that, okay, I need to end this part of my life and get back to Jesus. And it was like a burden lifted. There were still a lot of burdens, but I was back running with Him. I decided to attend a Christian singles Bible study and thought that would be a good step for me to get back on track. And what a bag of issues and problems I saw there. I was bringing my own in, but they were all around on various chairs in that room. And I thought, oh my goodness, what am I getting into here? But nonetheless, God brought a new life into play for me. And I met my wife, Janet, at that time. And we began growing and running together after the Lord. And that's been so important for me over these years that it's not just me alone. My wife cares deeply about Jesus too. And so she's working that path and I'm working that path, and together we're doing it together. If I were to say, here's where I'm at and here's where God has brought me, or this point that He's brought me to, I'd say there are a lot of life factors. We have seasons in our life where we have the ups and downs. I've certainly had my share of those. It seems as though in my life there are dramatic things that go on. Dramatic can mean adopting 2 children at the age of 55. And that definitely is dramatic. It can be being the guardian of my brother and sister now. It could be handling the finances of those two individuals and my own and my parents and my dad passing away in January and people losing jobs, in my case losing income with my work, and for 9 months no money. These things can be devastating in anyone's life. Put them all together, and in my life that's often the case. I guess in all that I'm thinking God is sufficient. He is the sustainer. He can give me the energy and the nourishment, so to speak, to get through the day. And then it's one thing at a time. Through the trials and tests that we go through, that I go through and am going through, I'm reminding myself that it's not about me. And the other part of it is this, that I was taught that what counts for eternity is people and God. And so anything in my life should be done with that as focus. I'm reminded in those times that it really is not about me. The world would teach us otherwise, but it isn't about me. It's about God and others. My name's Bob Bartlett. God is first and I'm second.
I'd like just to ask her what all this world